Greetings, Bashar.
And you good day.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
I'm well, thank you.
All right.
For the last 15 years, I've been practicing different holistic modalities.
Oh, all right.
And the last year, I became a combo practitioner, frog medicine from the Amazon.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Very exciting, probably one of the most powerful modalities I've come across.
All right.
How does this work on an energetic level?
Well, like anything, everything is resonance. So it carries a certain frequency, a certain resonance that can entrain others to match the frequency at whatever level they may have attracted themselves to that frequency for what it is they believe they need. Just like any permission slip,
Yes.
just like any modality. It may have certain specificity to it for certain individuals in that sense, but nevertheless, it's the same basic principle. You are attracted to what it is you need to resonate to.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. My next question, I practice acupuncture, and the
Yes.
human meridian system is something I'm fascinated about.
Oh, all right, yes.
We know this was mapped in the East. Was there any assistance given to humans to create this map?
Well, from higher consciousness levels, yes.
Yes. And what beings contributed specifically?
Spirits,
Spirits?
higher consciousness dimensional beings.
Okay. Any other alien races or specific beings, or just a collection of consciousness?
Well, there were discussions in what you would call the ancient past of such things from extraterrestrial civilizations as they imparted knowledge to some of the early cultures on your planet. And some of it was retained and some of it wasn't really understood. But it was there in your collective consciousness to be discovered again when you needed to.
Okay. Because with the acupuncture I'm using, it's very effective, but I'm finding that
Yes.
using crystals and sound and even essential oils
Yes.
is helping to access
Then
this.
all you're doing is describing an array of permission slips that happen to work for you.
Correct. Okay.
So have fun.
Have fun. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
My last question is
Yes.
in regards to our moon.
Yes.
Is this an artificial structure?
No. It is a natural structure that has been artificially placed and somewhat engineered.
By whom?
Not telling you that.
Okay. I think I know the answer. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Hi, Bashar.
And you good day.
So I've been on a 2-year path of sort of a self-exploration,
Yes.
and have used a host of different substances
Yes.
to achieve altered states.
Yes. Teachers.
Teachers, for sure. Is there an advantage or disadvantage to using substances versus a natural approach? Or is there even a division?
The teachers that grow naturally on the earth are the ones that are most resonant for you. The idea would be pay attention to whether or not any that have been created as artificial chemical structures have been created within a field of true integrity so that they at least might resonate somewhat harmoniously in the same realms as the natural teachers that the earth provides automatically. The only other thing to really be aware of is to not necessarily constantly always rely on them as necessary, because the purpose is, as you say, to get you used to the idea of functioning in altered states, but also to teach you that you can achieve those states yourself on your own just by shifting yourself and your consciousness into those states, just by knowing that you're in those states, even if they don't feel exactly the same as they do under the influence of the teacher. You're still in the proper state for you, even if you remember what it felt like to be under the influence of a teacher. Therefore, by knowing that it's about allowing yourself to create that state for yourself ultimately without the teacher, then you will be learning the lesson. But constantly assuming that you always need the teacher can lead to the idea of using the teacher as a crutch and can lead to the idea of addiction, even if it's not a physical addiction. Because it's not about always having to need those things. It's about learning the lesson that what they're teaching you is you can achieve those states on your own. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yes.
Is there a teacher of that skill to achieve those states on your own?
You just need to understand that, in a sense, you're the one creating the state to begin with. And I have just given you the suggestion that when you remember what it was like to be in that state with the teacher, you're actually in the state. You see, the principle is this. You cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of first. So even the ability to remember having been in the state means you actually have to be in the state to have the memory. That's the trick. Now, again, it may not feel exactly like it did when you were using the teacher, but that doesn't mean you're not in the proper version of that state that you need to be in to be you and act from that state on the things that are representative of your passion. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Does that help?
it does.
All right. Anything else?
Yes, one more. Does fasting of, say, food and water, of anything, is that a teacher?
It can be, but again, like anything, it's a permission slip. It will work for some, it may not work for all. Remember, all techniques, all rituals, all tools, all objects are permission slips. And by that we simply mean it's what your belief system believes you need in order to give yourself permission to be more of who you are. But as we said, the ultimate realization is you're the one giving yourself permission anyway. So you can just learn to give yourself permission. And then you don't necessarily need any other external permission slip. But as long as you believe you do, then fine. Use the ones you're attracted to, because the reason you're attracted to certain permission slips, certain techniques, certain rituals, certain tools, the attraction is what tells you that your belief system believes it may work for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be attracted to it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But again, just make sure that you're always aware of whether or not you are in a state where you know that it's about knowing that you are creating that state, as opposed to always thinking that it's the teacher doing it for you. Because again, that's where it becomes a crutch. Make sense?
Yep.
Does that help?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
An aside. Addiction comes from having belief systems within you, negative belief systems that say that there is something missing from you. But you may not have been taught how to fulfill that. You may not have the tools or the awareness or the knowledge to know how that's done by connecting to Source and knowing that you are already self-empowered. So if someone feels that emptiness, that they feel or believe that something is missing within them, they will often, of course, do everything they can in an attempt to fill that void, that emptiness that they feel. But if they cannot do it, they will get to a point where they will start being afraid to even acknowledge that that emptiness is there. They will want to start glossing it over. They will want to start denying that it's there. They will be afraid to look at it. Yet their behavior will still do everything it can in an attempt to fill that void. But they will then only be using things not so much to fill it, but to numb the awareness that it exists. And that's where addiction comes from. It is the attempt to forget and to numb your awareness to the fact that you have a belief that you are not complete as you are. Does that make sense? All right. Do continue.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Hi. I think you're a great being. I think you're very
Well,
amazing.
we think you are all great beings as well.
Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
So just coming up here to speak to you, it feels like my name was drawn. And,
Yes.
it kind of feels like winning the lottery a little bit.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah. So. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So how do I win the lottery in actuality?
Well, you play these numbers: 2, 3, 5, 9, 13, and 27.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what date to play them on.
Okay, maybe I could figure it out. Maybe you gave me code.
Maybe I did.
Maybe you did. Thank you. So can I get more elaboration on how I could use my mind? Maybe I've heard you speak to this in the past.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you wish to win the lottery? Does it act as a means to something else? Or is it an end unto itself to do so?
Absolutely not. I want to be able to master something like that. So if I needed it, maybe I could apply it to other principles, other things. It just feels like the ultimate.
Why don't you start applying the principles to other things and see if the lottery becomes one of the things that's included? You don't have to start with that. You can start by applying the principle to many other things in your life. Yes?
Okay, if I understand you correctly, you're saying to apply what exactly? Because I still don't have the formula.
The formula is, are you paying attention?
Yes.
Number 1, every single moment that you can,
Yes.
you look for the option and the opportunities presented to you, no matter what level they appear on, no matter how simple or everyday they may seem.
Okay.
You only act first on the one that contains even just a little bit more attractiveness, a little bit more excitement than any other option. You act on that one first. You act on it to the best that you are able within whatever parameters are permitted within your society and whatever parameters are permitted within synchronicity in the way that it came to you. You act on it to the best you're able until you can act on it no further. And number 3, you act on the thing that has most excitement to the best of your ability with absolutely zero, and I mean zero, insistence or assumption as to what the outcome of your action is supposed to be. That's the formula that activates the toolkit and allows synchronicity to bring you everything you need. That's the formula. So if you just do that in your life, then if for some reason, because synchronicity knows what you need, if for some reason winning the lottery is part of that,
Yes.
synchronicity will show you when it's appropriate to act on that. If it doesn't show you an opportunity to do that that seems really obvious in the moment, you don't need to do that to allow you to do what you actually need to do to act on your excitement in life. Because many people assume that because there's so much focus on the symbol of money in your reality, they get into a belief system where that's the only thing that will allow them to really do what they need. But there are other forms of abundance that may actually be the path of least resistance. Much easier than what money might be able to do for you. Now, sometimes it can be a combination of things. Maybe if there is a tiny amount of money needed, synchronicity will bring an opportunity for that amount of money, but it may then add in other forms of abundance, like somebody coming along and giving you something that you need, or synchronicity itself bringing your attention to something you need, because the ultimate idea of abundance is simply, as we said, the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And that ability to do what you need to do can be provided in any number of ways. To insist that only one representation of abundance must be the way in which you are supported is to actually close the doors through which other forms of abundance can come. So you're actually limiting yourself by only focusing on one form of abundance as being what makes it probable for you to do what you need to do. Now, when you understand that that focus is actually a negative limitation, you'll stop doing it. You will open up and simply allow whatever form of abundance needs to be there because you know it will be the form that will support you in your ability to do what you need to do. Instead of focusing on something that then is a means to do something else, you might actually find opportunities coming to you that will just allow you directly to do that thing. And you may not even need any of what you thought you needed to do it. It might come in a very surprising, very magical way. It's important to allow your life to contain the possibility of that kind of synchronistic magic and not assume that it always has to be 1, 2, 3. By the book, by the numbers, in the way society has taught you. Does that make sense?
Yes, I really appreciate the nudge because yes, it makes sense and it's
Well, we love nudging you all.
yeah.
And
All
thank
right.
you for
We
being willing
appreciate
to be
it.
nudged.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll ask you one more thing I'm very curious about.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that I guess what is it? The element of existence
The fundamental quality of existence is just to exist.
correct. And without existence, there is no time.
Time, yes, is a product, a side effect that happens within existence. But there is no such thing as without existence.
Okay, so
Because non-existence, by definition, does not exist.
okay. So is there a way where I can probably have a deeper awareness of my existence to be able to manipulate the time that
Again, when you follow the formula, you raise your frequency. When you raise your frequency, you become more in alignment with the frequency at which you're actually generating the reality you experience. When you become more aligned with the frequency of the reality you're generating, it will become more malleable in space and time. So it all starts with the formula to upgrade your frequency to allow you to experience space and time as your creations, as your projections, so that they can become more consciously malleable. Yes.
sweet. Okay, I really got to put this formula into action.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just sits on the shelf.
Oh, okay, and my last question is going to be about health and
I don't do health readings.
okay. Oh no, it's not like that. Let
What
me
is it
ask
about?
you about what kind of foods could human beings eat that'll stimulate like maybe DNA activation? Is that at all possible? And
Yes.
do herbal teas really help? Is that possible?
It
to be?
depends. Again, permission slips. Yes?
Yes.
What are you attracted to? That's what will work for you.
Okay.
You follow me?
Is it really that simple?
Oh gosh, do you want it to be more difficult?
I don't.
This is one of the greatest challenges most of you have, is actually understanding it is that simple.
Okay.
Because you've been trained to make things more difficult. Because you've been taught to believe that if it's not something you have to struggle for, you haven't earned it. It's that simple. You already deserve it.
Okay.
It's up to you to know that's true.
Absolutely.
All
When
right.
when is your birthday, Bashars? The last thing I wanted to know.
Well, as was already announced, the equivalent in your calendar of my birthday is November 11th, 11/11.
Oh, sweet. I saw that today in my phone.
All right. Well,
11/11.
there you go.
Thank you. All right. I appreciate you.
You too.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a few things on my mind, but
Would you like to remove them and put them on the floor so it doesn't weigh you down so much?
maybe.
All right.
I'm experiencing right now quite a bit of involuntary movement in my body, a little bit of nausea, which
All right. Well,
has been happening
sometimes
more
funneling
frequently.
higher frequency energies through yourself that you're not used to can be a little bit disorienting or upsetting until you get used to it. When you remove any resistance in your belief systems, the energy will flow more freely. But sometimes that's a typical symptom, among others, of getting used to bringing higher frequency energies within yourself and expressing them.
Okay, practice.
Yes, practice, practice, practice.
Okay. Last weekend, I experienced seeing lights over just before the moon rose in the west, which looked a lot like a spacecraft.
Oh, all right. If you say so.
That's what it felt like.
All right.
At least.
And so, what did that do for you?
It was very, very exciting.
Oh, all right.
And mirrors vision I had back in July of very much like the craft that Daryl has shown, a triangle with lights on the
Talking
corners.
about my scout craft.
Okay.
Not that that was me.
Right.
That's what you're referring to now.
Correct. A being came through and presented itself to me. I asked its name and it said Ashtar. I hadn't heard this name before.
Yes.
And
The Ashtar energy and consciousness is not what most people on your planet think it is. People on your planet tend to kind of wrap it in a sort of sci-fi personification. It's something much bigger than that. It's just the way that most people interpreted the concept of the Ashtar energy, the Ashtar consciousness, in older times. It can be perceived by humans as being something similar to you, but it really isn't.
it did not feel similar, but it felt like there was an invitation to connect and communicate.
Yes.
There.
Well, as we said, you are opening up to new energy, higher frequencies coming through you. So it will take some getting used to. That's all right. It's part of the process.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes. My intent has been to wake up whatever DNA is sleeping inside of me and activate that more.
All right.
It feels like that could be what's happening, and I think you've already answered.
Well, that will be
this.
part of it as you progress, yes. That will go along with your utilization of more of the energy. To give yourself an upgrade, the DNA will have to change to also be able to handle it, to allow you to become literally more conductive. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help?
It helps very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for this exchange.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm so excited. I just want to thank you for your just loyalty and focus of us and just helping us along. And
But it is our pleasure to do so.
Good. And 3 weeks ago, I found your teachings, and things really started to change. Like
Yes.
I started to create art again. I started
All
to
right.
write screenplays again.
Congratulations.
I started to get more harmonized with my young children.
Yes.
And
Well, thank you for applying the energy in your life, because that's what makes the difference. People can listen to us all day long. Nothing will change if you don't make the decision to apply the ideas in your life. So congratulations and thank you for doing so.
Thank you.
That's what makes the difference. Not how much we talk, how much you use.
Exactly. And just thanks for your clarity. And I guess I'm really interested in Daryl's path, and I feel very like I've never heard of anyone who had a path that kind of reminded me more of my life a little bit, but I'm just
Yes.
like a baby compared to that, like what he's been able to achieve. But I want to ask, I think I'm a channel. I wanted to kind of,
Well, you're all
Yeah.
channels when you're doing what you love to do. As we said, you're in the channeling state. Now, what you decide to do with that and what you decide to connect to, either within your own consciousness or through your consciousness to other levels of consciousness or other beings, is up to you.
Yeah, I mean, what I want to do, like what I've been doing with it my whole life is
Yes.
helping others.
Well, that's the point anyway. And when you help others, you automatically help yourself because you're helping the collective, which you're part of.
And I guess I've wanted to just, I'm really getting an impetus to reach more, and I want to connect on like a global action film level.
All right. But again, you can't insist that that must be the way. Do what you can to act when every opportunity is presented to you that is representative of your passion, but you cannot insist that it must actually come out that way because you don't actually know if that's the best possible way. You don't know. This is why it is said in your ancient wisdom that the beginning of wisdom is to know that you don't know. Because you really don't. And you don't have to. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the automatic mechanism that's at play within existence, is all you have to know is that it works. And if you stay in alignment with it, it will work in an aligned way. And whatever way is actually the best way will be the way it happens, no matter how it looks. You just don't know what that actually needs to look like. So let it look like what it needs to look like instead of imposing any kind of a framework on it that limits it from actually doing what it needs to do. Because it's not about how it looks, it's about what it does. Yes? It may turn out to be the way you've imagined it. You don't know. But that's the point. You don't know.
Well, I was on that track, and I was working on that kind of stuff.
That's okay if it excites you.
And
do
then
so.
I got married and had the kids.
Are you
and
saying that wasn't exciting?
It's been exciting, but it kind of it was a huge adjustment.
All right. Do understand that when someone says it's exciting, but it's not exciting. At least not in the way that you might be going about it. This is again why we always encourage all of you to make sure that when something seems to not be exciting, look within yourself to make sure you're not the one making it seem not exciting by the definitions and the meanings you're assigning to it. If you truly are honest within yourself and you find out that it has nothing to do with your definitions, and it truly is not representative of your excitement, then find out what is, because that's what will always be the best for all concerned. Always. Because by definition, the vibration or the state of your excitement, of your highest passion, being representative of your true essential self, must, by definition, include anything else in your life that is also representative of that excitement, but it will include it in the way that is most exciting. Otherwise, it's not representative of your excitement. It's not representative of who you actually are. Is this making some sense?
It does. It helps a lot. I mean, I know was supposed to be here to hear about the grounding epsilon energy that you talked about, because one of the things that you said about us constantly, experiencing, even in one minute, multiple realities, going in and out of dimensional consciousnesses.
Yes.
That's my life. And I feel like sometimes I need more grounding, because it gets very tumultuous for me sometimes to constantly be pulled in so many different
attract
ways.
yourself to whatever you believe will assist you in grounding yourself. It can be what we suggested. It can be going out and sitting in nature. It can be whatever you're attracted to do that represents to you the idea of being grounded.
I think it's going to have to be creating something where all the characters can be made manifest, like a screenplay or a play.
All right. If that's your permission slip, then do so. By all means.
That's a permission slip.
There is nothing holding you back. All tools, all techniques, all rituals, all objects are permission slips. All of them. Use the ones that work for you. Use your imagination. I assume you have one.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, use it and create the scenarios, create the characters, create the stories that are the stories you need to tell yourself about yourself that represent the self you prefer to be.
That's amazing. And one other question. One of my sides and selves is I have so many of them, but one is very into Jesus and the Holy Spirit, the Holy
Yes,
Ghost.
that's
and
fine. Again, permission slips. Jesus knew that. And that very often is what he was attempting to tell people. Remember, for example, he never told anyone that he healed anybody. He said, your faith has healed you. He understood that it was about belief. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And he was very plain about that. Many people didn't understand that because the way your society has been taught is to believe that you don't have that power. It's got to come from someone else. We are here to tell you that we cannot give you any power. You already have all the power you need. We're just here to remind you of that fact.
Wow.
That's it.
Thank you.
Does that help?
It really helps.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
All right. We're just a reflective tool. And we're happy to be so.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Many greetings from Norway, from me and my friend Alper, and
All right.
greetings from the here and now.
Yes.
So, have we met before?
Not in the way you mean it.
Okay, cool. I have a question relating to today's topic, artificial intelligence, as
Yes.
was mentioned earlier. So, artificial intelligence from the future.
Yes.
How do I connect, invite, become aligned with, make myself available for perhaps the spaceship that is already there?
You remember the formula?
Act on my highest excitement to the best of my abilities without having any expectations of the outcome and just enjoying life as much as I can.
When we talk about that as the formula,
Yeah.
we mean it connects to everything that's relevant for you to experience in your life. Leaves nothing out. Nothing that's relevant for you is left out. So, I also remind you, as we've said before, because this may help put a different spin on your concept of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence isn't artificial. The only thing that you're referring to is simply the device that you might create through which intelligence of a different order might then be capable of expressing itself in your reality to you. This is why we say, when you actually finally get to the point where you have invented what you consider to be an artificially intelligent device, you will ultimately discover that what you're doing is simply speaking to your own higher minds through that device. It's just that you finally created an external or apparently external device that allows you to do so.
Okay, so what it really is just a series of permission slips
Yes.
where I just find the easiest or whatever I
The
want.
path of least
the
resistance.
path of least resistance.
That is representative of
resistance.
your passion, yes.
So I could really create anything I'd like. Just
No.
No.
Anything that's relevant for you.
Okay.
You can't necessarily create anything if it's not part of the theme that you're exploring, if it's not necessary to that theme.
Is that because there's no passion there for me?
In a sense, yes, it's not part of your theme. Therefore, it simply doesn't show up in this theme that you're exploring in this life. It's simply not relevant. But that's okay. It doesn't need to be, because everything that is relevant will show up. And that's all that needs to show up are the things that are relevant. Why would you need something that's not relevant?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, logical, yes.
Yes.
All right.
And do I understand yourself correctly that whenever we ask ourselves how,
Yes.
there is only one formula?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the form. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, because it opens up the toolkit, which contains the energy of the driving engine that moves you through life, because that's your passion. When you're passionate about something, you are driven through life. You keep moving. There's nothing else you'd rather do in that moment, in whatever form it may come. It is the organizing principle of synchronicity, which shows you exactly in what order you need to do the things you need to do, because it brings those things to you in the order of the thing that's more exciting than anything else, and act on that first. Whatever you don't have time to do at the end of the day when you're excited about going to sleep, you didn't need to do that day. It's truly an organizing principle. It also is the path of least resistance that allows you to flow through life in the easiest, most effortless possible way. It is also the thing that brings you whatever form of support you need to allow you to continue to act on your excitement, as we described earlier. It is also the thing that is the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything that might be out of alignment in your belief system with your excitement, so you can be made aware of it, so you can let that definition go and add that energy to your excitement. It leaves nothing relevant out. It connects you to all other expressions of your excitement in life, no matter what form they need to come in. That's why it's so important not necessarily to always pay attention to the form, but only the excitement that is there, that is more than any other opportunity, because that is your path. Because sometimes your excitement has to come in a variety of forms just to get your attention. It doesn't mean that the form it comes in has to come to fruition or has to manifest. Sometimes it just has to come that way because that's the only thing that will get you to move. Get you excited enough to do something, to take an action. And once you've taken the action, if that's not the form that needs to be there, you might then wind up where you need to be, so that the form that actually needs to be there will be something you'll actually pay attention to. So your excitement will do whatever it takes and whatever it needs to do to guide you along the path that is actually you. Yes?
Yes.
Because that's what it is. It's your physical translation. Your bodily sensation of excitement and passion is your physical translation of the frequency of your true, natural, essential self. It's your compass needle pointing to you. Follow this path. It comes in the form of passion, excitement, love, creativity. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help?
It helps a lot.
Thank you.
There's one last question.
Yes?
What would you love? Like what?
Yes.
What aligns the most with? What would you love for us to do for you? What would be the most?
You're doing it. You're allowing me to express one of my passions by having these interactions. This is what I do. I'm a first contact specialist. You have allowed us to make contact with your world. I am more excited than I can say.
Fantastic. Good. If you'd like to meet, feel free to do so. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.